Hello everyone, welcome back. Let's talk about another medium problem on Leetcode today, fraction addition and subtraction, Leetcode 592. In this problem, we are given a string expression representing an expression of fraction addition and subtraction, and we should return the calculation result in string format. And the final result should be in the irreducible fraction. So what they mean by this is if we get 2 by 4, we should return it as 1 by 2. So we should cancel out all the common factors between numerator and denominator and return 1 by 2. Then they say if our final result is an integer, we should change it in the format of a fraction that has a denominator 1. So for example, in case of 2, we should return 2 by 1. Or in case of 0, we should return 0 by 1, right? Then they have given some examples as well. Let's take example 3 as it covers the gist of the problem. And before going into that example, let's understand the math behind this problem. Suppose we have two numbers in the form of fractions. One is a by b and another one is c by d. Then if we want to do addition or subtraction between them, so we do a by b plus or minus c by d. Then for numerator, we will do a by d plus or minus c by b. And for denominator, we will do b into d. That is, we will multiply both the denominators. So then, for example, if we do 1 by 3 minus 1 by 2, we will get 1 into 2 minus 1 into 3 divided by 3 into 2. So that will give us 2 minus 3 by 6, which is equal to 1 by 6, right? So this is how the math behind the problem works. Now coming back to the problem, in example 3, string expression is given to us as 1 by 3 minus 1 by 2. So we will do the math similar to what we saw in the previous example and return minus 1 by 6 as string. Now, in terms of solution, we will apply the same approach like we solved it numerically, but it also involves a string parsing logic. So let's take expression from example 3. It will be 1 by 3 minus 1 by 2. And initially our result will be equal to 0. So what that means is our numerator is equal to 0 and our denominator is equal to 1. And I am using abbreviation NR for numerator and DR for denominator. And now we will start parsing the expression. So we will start from I equal to 0, where I is the iterator on the string. Then throughout the iteration, we will actually take care of three variables: sign, current numerator, and current denominator. Sign can be +1 or -1. And we need it because in the constraint it is mentioned that we may see plus or minus sign before the numerator. Current numerator and denominator will be used to actually parse the fraction before we actually process it in the result. So initially I will be equal to 0 and we check if there is a sign, and in this case there is no sign. So our sign says +1 and I remains at 0. And now we know that next part of the expression should be numerator. So we will collect all the consecutive digits into the current numerator starting from index I equal to 0 and increment I. So we get current numerator as 1 only. And then we see forward slash. So we will actually skip it. But now we know that the next character or next digit will be denominator, right? So we will read all the consecutive digits into the current denominator. So here we get current denominator as 3 and we will move forward I accordingly. And now that we have parsed both current numerator and current denominator, we will actually use it to update our result numerator and denominator by using the same numerical technique that we discussed initially. So our result numerator by denominator was 0 by 1 and our current numerator by denominator is +1 by 3. So we will do 0 by 1 plus 1 by 3 and that will give us 3 into 0 plus 1 into 1, that is 1 in numerator, divided by 1 into 3, that is 3 in denominator. So now our numerator will become 1 and our denominator will become 3. For 1 by 3, we didn't require any simplification, but if needed, we can actually divide both numerator and denominator by greatest common divisor to simplify the fraction further. The greatest common denominator of 1 and 3 is 1 only. So we will get 1 by 3. So in this case, it's fine. But why is this simplification needed? And the answer is, if you remember, we have to return the irreducible fraction. So suppose if we would have got numerator as 18 and denominator as 48, then the greatest common denominator between them is 6, right? So if we divide 18 by 6, we will get 3. And if we divide 48 by 6, that will give us 8. So our irreducible fraction here will be 3 by 8. Now again, let's get back to the solution. And once we have updated our result, we will actually reset the value of sine, current numerator and current denominator for the upcoming parts of the expression. So we will set sine to 1, current numerator to 0 and current denominator to 0 again. And now we again search for the sign, and this time we get a negative sign. So we set sign variable equal to -1. So now we move to the next character, and we know that the next character after the sign will be numerator. So we will read all the consecutive ones into current numerator, and now we will get current numerator as 1 and increment I accordingly. And let me clean this a bit. So it was 1, but now we see that sign is negative. So we make our current numerator also negative. So we will just multiply current numerator by -1. So in this case, we will get -1. Then we see forward slash, so we will ignore it. But now we know that after this, there will be a denominator. So our I comes here. And then we will again read all the consecutive digits into the current denominator. And that will give us 2 in this case. And now that our current fraction or new fraction is complete, we will actually use it to update our result fraction. We have to do 1 by 3 minus 1 by 2, right? So again, we will follow the same mathematical formula. So for numerator, we will multiply numerator into current denominator. I'm writing it as CDR minus current numerator. Let's write it as CNR into denominator. And similarly for denominator, it will be denominator into current denominator. So in the numerator, we will get 1 into current denominator is 2. Then our current numerator is -1 into the denominator 3 divided by 2 into 3. So that will give us 2 minus 3 divided by 6, which is -1 by 6. So our numerator now becomes -1 and our denominator now becomes 6. So that will be our result. And now we have reached the end of the string. So that will be our final result. And this is how the whole algorithm will work. And now let's jump into the code part. So first thing we will do is we will define the numerator and denominator, which we will return as an answer. So initially the result will be equal to 0. So numerator is 0 and denominator is 1. Now we will start the while loop on the expression. So we start from I equal to 0 up to the length of the string, that is n. I could have used full name like numerator and denominator, but sometimes in the interview, the time is less. And if we write such a long variables, then a lot of time is spent in writing those, and sometimes copy and paste is not allowed. So we have to type completely. So just to save that time, I'm just doing nr and dr for numerator and denominator. And now we will just start the while loop. So initially the default value for sign will be +1. And as the expression format is plus minus numerator by denominator, at the start of the expression, we will check if the sign is present. And if it is present and it is +1, then sign stays +1. But if it is minus sign, then sign becomes -1. And now the next step is to read the numerator. So let's define current numerator for that. So initially its value will be equal to 0. Now we will read all the consecutive digits in the string. So we will do while I less than n and character at ith position is a digit. Then we will append it to the current numerator. We will just do current number is equal to current number into 10. So we will just multiply it by the 10 and add the current digit to it. We will get numeric digit by subtracting ASCII 0 value from the character digit. And then we will just do I plus plus. So what this is doing is, like, suppose the numerator has a value 112. To extract this value, what we will be doing is we will get the first character. So when we do 1 minus 0, we will get number 1. So this was a character 1, but now we get a number 1 once we do the subtraction. Now current numerator becomes 1, and next time we again get 1. So we will do +1 for that, and we will multiply current numerator by 10. So we will get 1 into 10 equal to 10. And now current numerator becomes 11. And next time we get 2. So we will do +2 for that, but we will multiply 11 by 10. So it will become 110. So that's how we will get 112. So once we have got the current numerator, we will just multiply it by the sign. And the next character for us will be this forward slash. And we can just skip it by doing I++. Then similarly, we will set the value for denominator as well. So I can maybe just copy paste this code. So initially current denominator is equal to 0. Then we will do while I is less than n so that we don't go out of bounds. And if character is digit at ith position in the string, then current denominator should be equal to current denominator into 10 plus the digit value at ith position. And then we do just I++. We don't have to copy this sign part. And now our current fraction is complete. So we can actually update the result numerator and denominator. So our numerator becomes numerator into current denominator plus current numerator into denominator. And denominator becomes denominator into current denominator. Now once we have the updated numerator and denominator, we will actually simplify the result by reducing the resulting fraction into irreducible form by using greatest common divisor or GCD. Let's make a call to GCD function passing absolute value of numerator and denominator. And I'll come to that in a second why we need to use absolute values. And now we divide both numerator and denominator by the GCD. And finally, we will return string as numerator plus denominator. And now let's see why we had to pass the absolute values to the GCD function. Suppose our numerator was -2 and our denominator was 6. So in this case, what should be our greatest common divisor? It should be +2 only. And the reason for this is when we divide -2 by 2, we will get -1 and here we will get 3. But when we pass -2 and 6 to the GCD function, we will get greatest common divisor as -2. And because of this, when we divide -2 by -2, we will get +1, right? And when we divide 6 by -2, we will get -3. So because of this, if you notice, we are associating sign mainly with the numerator, but now the sign will be associated with the denominator, which we don't want to do. So to avoid this, we can actually pass the absolute value of numerator and denominator. And now let's write the GCD function. So it will be private int GCD int a, int b. So we just pass these two numbers. So this is a Euclid algorithm to get the GCD. Maybe I'll make a separate video for this one in the coming days. So we do the while b is not equal to 0. We can either use subtraction or modulo operator. And I will use the modulo operator now. So we can save the b's value in a temporary variable. And then we do b is equal to a modulo b and a is equal to temp. And this is how the whole loop will continue. And finally, we will just return A. Now let's run this code. Cool. Let's submit this code. Awesome. In terms of time complexity, it will be O of n, where n is length of the expression string, because we are going through the characters of the string only once. And in terms of space complexity, it is O of 1 because we are using some variables. So that's it for today. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Have a nice time. Thank you.